बीजपूरगदेक्षुकर्मकुरजाब्जक्राब्जपाशोत्फल व्रीयग्रस्वपिशानरत्नकलशैः प्रोद्यत्कराम्भोरुवः ध्येयो वल्लभया सपद्मकरणाश्लोज्ज्वलद्भूषय विश्वोत्पत्तिविपत्तिसंस्तुतिकरो विघ्नेश इष्टार्दध श्रीनाथादिगुरुत्रयं गणपतिं पीठत्रयं भैरवं सिद्धौघं वटुकत्रयं पदयुगं दूतीक्रमं मण्डलम् वीरान्ध्यष्टचतुष्कषष्टिनवकं वीरावळी पञ्चकम् श्रीमन्मालिनीमन्त्रराजसहितं वन्दे गुरोर्मण्डलम् मातर्मे मधुकैटभग्निमहिषः प्राणापहारोऽध्यमे हेलनिर्मितधूम्रलोचनवधे हे चण्डमुण्डार्दिनी निःशेषीकृतरक्तबीजदनुजे नित्ये निशुम्भापहे शुम्भध्वंसिनि संहर सुदुरितन् दुर्गे नमस्तेऽम्बिके सर्वं श्रीचण्डी महालक्ष्मी श्रीपादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः सद्गुरुं श्रीपादुकां पूजयामि तर्पयामि नमः. Welcome all of you for this session that we are doing it on Saturdays on the Sadhaka series. And today I am going to speak on something I think which will be relevant to a lot of you because majority of my students are grihasthas here, and we are asking something, a very important question in today's class. And the central argument that I'm going to construct here is a sadhaka should become increasingly normal, graceful, responsible, compassionate, and stable, not increasingly eccentric, dramatic, isolated, and performate. This is the central teaching that is coming from our Sri Vidya. And welcome to today's class, where in Sadhaka series, we are talking about sadhana beyond the puja room. Does a sadhaka need to renounce the world, family, responsibility, and everyday spirituality? That is the title that I have given. So let's start with this question: what is sadhana? Or rather, what is the purpose of sadhana? When you're listening to me, you're not supposed to sit like this and listen and all. This is all Vedic tantric teachings. You have to listen properly. It's like as if, why am I sitting here? The entire world is coming to an end by listening to this fellow, actually, or sitting like this. I feel like, you think about me actually when I'm talking to you, sitting like this in front of me. What will I think actually? Or sitting like this. I know maybe it is interesting to listen to me like this, but this is not the way we are supposed to listen in front of the teacher actually. So, what is the purpose of sadhana? People answer the common answers. Like maybe I'll start with you all actually, instead of rather me answering. Isha, can you please open the chat box for me? Let's make it a bit interactive with students. What is sadhana? One word only, no sentences and all. One word. Give me a word answer. Okay. Only 3 people are there in the class. Huh? Answer all of you. Yes, Vijay will always write sentences. Okay. Disciplined practice. Okay. Internalization. Shobhanama. Achieve. Vishwanath. Connecting inner soul. My God. Practice unless we become perfect. Control of senses. My God, I'm afraid. Devotion. Practice in a particular way. Okay. Discipline. Okay. Inward journey. You people are so intelligent, my God. No, I'm like not sarcastic here, actually. I mean, all kinds of wordings that are related to practice to reach Parashakti. Wow, Ramama, super. Atma Vidya. Atma Vidya, Mahavidya, Sri Vidya, Kama Sevita. அப்படியே லலிதா நம்ம சொல்லிடலாமே. Sadhana in Hindi means sharpening the self to know self. Vijay, I don't want these definitions. I told you to write single word. No to tingle with Maya. Very rhyming. Dedication. Oh my God. I don't have any of these qualities. You all have so much of these. To that methodological discipline, practice. Okay. Fine, fine. Thank you, students. Thank you. Thank you so much. There's some Srinivas in this class actually with my name actually. Welcome, Srinivas. I think a new student. Okay. Thankfully, you all used the kind of words that I generally speak in the class. But generally, when we speak about sadhana, what people talk is moksha, Devi darshan, correct? Acquiring siddhis or spiritual experiences or everything that you people spoke. But sadhana is actually none of these actually, or maybe it's a sum total of all these, but it starts with what? Transformation. A very systematic transformation. None of you have written this actually. Transformation. That too, it is not rapid. Underline that word, systematic actually. Okay? In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, verse number 5, Bhagwan, I'm not quoting the verse. Bhagwan is very clearly saying, Krishna is very clearly saying that lift yourself step by step, and that is nothing but refinement, and that refinement is sadhana. And there is no escape from there. There is no escape. We have to do that actually. Some of the other time will be coming into there. So when we talk about sadhana with this definition, then the very title that I'm implying for our today's class, that sadhana beyond the puja room. What is puja according to all of you? Yes, Guruji has asked me to do Navaha Parayanam. I have to do one Panchopachara puja. So let me do it now. Morning, evening, I'll do. He has told me to do. So that's it. So doing one puja in the morning, done. That's it. Or evening, I've done. Okay. What some say, he's writing something in Facebook, he's writing and he's forcing us to write reflections. What to do? Like, okay, fine, write all reflections. Like, oh, I've done, and attend the class. Okay, monthly once write the, you know, you write the assignments. This actually, this is also not sadhana. This is also not sadhana. What is Tantra Raja Tantra? Tantra Raja Tantra is one of the primary text in our learning the Tantra Shastras and Sri Vidya. It speaks repeatedly on one thing, students. It speaks about integration, actually. It speaks about integration. According to Tantra Raja Tantra, there is no what is called as specific work. Whatever the divisions of work which we all have, including me, there's an office work, there's a kitchen work, there is a classroom work, as sadhakas, because this class is meant for sadhakas. So I'm addressing sadhakas. So that there's a classroom, there is a parenting, there is a marriage life that is there, everything according to Tantra Raja Tantra is a part of that yantra that we want to worship, it seems actually. And everything is a part of mantra that we want to do the japam, it seems. Till the time we are going to see everything, then the duality will exist for us. And till the time the duality is existing for all of us, then our sorrows will exist in those spaces. You understand what I'm trying to say? Till the time the duality is there, if I can't, means in a simple sense, if I can't imply myself or think myself in the same dimension of the spirit, you know, you are all sitting now here calm, composed, wanted to listen, wanted to think, wanted to observe, wanted to put it into some kind of an action. This reflection, this reflective behavior which is there at this moment, that is this sadhana moment. Can I take this classroom as a sadhana moment for all of you? Yes, you, because you have dedicated this time to attend this class. This moment what you are spending, you should be able to spend the same way of the patterns in other spaces also, whatever spaces I just spoke. Then you are doing sadhana. Got it? Then you are doing sadhana. Otherwise, that aham leading to bhavam. Aham bhavam is what? That is the end result of all our work. With aham bhavam, karma, karma leading to action, reactions, more sorrows, more limitations, more lamentations. Very simple theory. Okay. So let's talk from the Mahavidyalaya point of view. We live in an age of YouTube because this entire class is happening through YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, AI, podcast. Everybody knows something here. Yes or no? Every one of you know things. It is not that somebody is a clean slate that you have landed up to me, actually. Very rare there is somebody who is a clean slate that I am the one who is eating first. You understand? You all have some kind of knowledge about, including this, what can be sadhana, what is Devi, what is XYZ theory. There's a lot of exposure. So we have to clearly understand the difference between information and vidya. What is the difference between information versus knowledge? Knowledge, I'm talking about knowledge is vidya here. You should be able to identify the difference actually. In today's world, it is very important. You can think about it to yourself also, because all of you have some kind of experience in terms of the podcast and listening to things and coming across other teachers, other traditions, other kinds of exposure and everything. So what was that and what is it here actually? Are you really feel a space that you are able to learn, and that learning is converting into knowledge, and that knowledge is converting into what is called as application, and that application is leading to what is called as transformation? Or I'm also bombarding you with information? You should ask this question to yourself very honestly. Got it? So nobody is actually learning in a sense, because the difference between information and vidya is very specific, and predominantly our memory is filled, unfortunately, with informations actually. Vidya should transform. As I said, it should lead to those transformation, and that transformation should be able to reflect in all these spaces that I am in. It's not that only when I'm in this puja space I act, I think in a different way, but I can do that in every space I am in actually. Any space, any circumstance, I can apply that principle actually. And that's the reason we have what is called as the difference between the para vidya and apara vidya actually. Because apara vidya is nothing but knowledge, and para is that which is imperishable, is known. That is our Mahavidya. Mahavidyalaya is trying to attempt a bridge between these two. We are not completely rejecting the para vidya just for the apara vidya, because we are what is called as there is a vyavaharika satyam, that which the Vedam itself is talking about. The Vedanta Tantra is very clearly recognizing what is called as a vyavaharika satyam. Vyavaharika satyam means there is a seemingly reality is there actually. You understand? No matter how much we realize that I have come alone and I'm going to go back alone, it is my own journey and everything. There is what is called as there is a system that is there around us. Unless and until you all want to do some Kali Upasana in a very terrific manner and want to break the system, actually. I hope now you can correlate with the Kali Upasana that I'm talking about, correct? Because you have been listening to the introduction to the Kali Upasana. So there is a system which might be, which is not the truth, which might be not. This is not truth. All our relationships, our house, our work, our bank balance, the shariram itself is not going to be the truth of our eternal existence. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody feeling very offended? Anybody feel that what I am saying is not at all true or something like that? I hope you are all accepting and the same page, whatever I'm saying. But we are living with that, and that is what is recognized by Tantra specifically, that this is called as Vyavaharika Satyam. It is like truth. It is seemingly truth, actually. Seemingly, it is a truth. So, therefore, we are not merely teaching in our Mahavidyalaya for information, actually. We are cultivating what is called as an reflective, transformative behavior or reflective, transformative personality, which should happen in each one of you through this sadhana. No matter whatever age you are, no matter whatever stages you are, no matter whatever karmas you carry, actually, it should work out for you. Let me go to the next dimension. There's always, particularly in this, in any other field, you know, having prior knowledge is very important. It is considered to be a boon. You have experience, you have prior knowledge. But trust me, as a teacher, I'm telling you, it's very difficult to teach individuals coming to this with prior knowledge, actually. At that point of time, you think about the ancient, forget about the ancient times. I think about my time, actually. I was a clean slate when I was sent to my teacher. I didn't know any of these things, actually. I was also, thankfully, I was young also, in that way, in one small blessing in my life. I was very young. I was introduced. Whatever they said, I believed that is the eternal truth, actually. And I still believe that, actually, there was no, later, by the time I learned everything, I could integrate. Now with the other things, I understand. Oh, they are also, there are different things are there, different schools of thoughts are there. This is there, that is there. But I know what I have learned, what I have inherited, what is there in my roots. I'm carrying it, actually. But unfortunately, that is not the case with majority of you, actually. There is unfortunately, if I have to be brutally honest, there is the danger of the prior knowledge is there in each one of you, most of you, actually. You know, already watched 500 plus videos of various other teachers, read so many blogs, chanted bija mantras by your own self, or taken bija mantras from various teachers, but gave up the bija mantras, not doing any chant, not doing the mantra japams, even if you have, you know, you don't know what is the actual problem you are dealing with in your life. Forget about spirituality. You don't, that vision, that why you want to do sadhana, what it is all about. So what has happened is that this all the information that you have collected, it is just settled in your stomach like an indigestion, and it has created a constipation. I'm talking in Priya's language, doctor's language. It is constipated, actually. And with that constipated, not just imagine when you suffer with constipation and you keep pushing more and more inside, what will happen, actually? What the kind of uncomfort zone that happens? Getting it? So information has not digested. Therefore, knowledge is not getting assimilated. Information is not digesting. Therefore, knowledge is not assimilating. Knowledge is not coming in actually. Therefore, our acharyas, particularly Abhinava Vidyagupta, has repeatedly warned us actually from their experiences that saying that knowledge, no, he's answering this because a teacher is supposed to answer the problem. And now you should be asking this question internally, I think, then what to do, how to digest it. Now, how this knowledge, or sorry, how this information that is there as indigested, entity in yourself, how it should digest with the recognition, number one, with the recognition, with the humility, and with surrendering to your learning that you are taking further actually. That is pratyabhigna. Pratyabhigna, that is what the central theory that Abhinava Vidyagupta speaks. Yesterday, interestingly, I don't want to name the student, a new student actually. That student wrote this interesting email to me, which I read in the late in the night. That student messaged me a nice mail saying that I've started this Gurukula, very beautiful and honest email. I have listened to a lot of podcast. I have a lot of knowledge already, but I am trying to be patient in your class because I am trying to understand that I've come here to learn. Therefore, I am not raising any questions to you because the reason is I like the way you take class. So I am silently listening to you. Thank you so much. I said, thank wow, nice email. See, I know already so much. So when you're talking, I want to ask questions, but I'm simply keeping quiet because the way you take class, I like it actually. A new student wrote this actually, an email. I like, okay, I totally well, I wrote a very nice email actually as a response. That's the last thing I did before I slept yesterday. Thank you for being in the learner's spirit actually. So this is not the problem with only you guys. If you have children at home, even the problem is that they already have enough knowledge more than the teachers. You understand what I'm trying to say? And they don't want to go and listen to the teachers. They think the teachers are a burden actually. What you are teaching, I know better than you, I know better techniques and better understanding about the subject than you actually. That might apply to the modern education, but it will never ever apply to our spiritual and religious education actually. No matter how much content you read, it is not the same when you listen from the teacher actually. Yes or no? And that example is primarily with all of you, right? Majority of you say these two things. I have tried to learn Devi Mahatmyam from YouTube. There's hundreds of channels which have proper recordings, proper syllabification, intonation, and everything for learning Devi Mahatmyam. But why you land up coming to a class to learn Devi Mahatmyam? There's a huge difference actually. And number two, the same thing I've heard some very intelligent students telling. I mean, I have heard most of the theory classes, whatever you say, in some or the other books I have read. But when you say it looks something so different actually. It's not that I have not read. I have read all these things. You are also reading from the same books. But the moment when you speak, when I'm listening from you, it is different. So that is the difference of having a teacher to learn the traditions actually. Correct. So it is not accumulation. It is not about accumulation. Information is not about accumulation, but it is all about what? Can an empty cup be filled? You tell me, can an empty cup be filled? Yes or no? Correct, na? Can a cup which is already overflowing can be filled? No. Correct. Obviously, we cannot fill it, will overflow. So you need what is called as that humility to learn, actually. That is something very important from the sadhaka's point of view, actually. Even the Shastras very clearly say, like, when when people of, for example, people of equal status of knowledge, they have learned different things, and if they are accepting another person to be the teacher to learn that particular thing, they will sit in all humility to take that knowledge from the other person, it seems, actually, because they don't have that particular knowledge. So that humility is what the Shastram is saying as the first primary, you know, requirement to transform this information into what is called as knowledge, actually. Otherwise, you will suffer with that indigestion of what is called as information filled belly, actually, which is not going to fill your hridayam. Therefore, your mind will never ever be satisfied, and it will keep scrolling from one reel to another. It will keep scrolling from one podcast to another, and it'll keep doing things. It will not come to a settle down, actually. Got it? So, humility is the stepping stone for intellectual honesty. And when we talk about humility, here specifically, humility has a hidden terminology within that, which is called as the grace. That grace is very important, students. We miss that grace. We think that we are doing things from mind, actually. We can never do the sadhana from mind, actually. Never, ever. Not. Maybe at later stages, by the kripa of Guru, by the kripa of Parashakti, we might understand the dynamics that we are doing, actually. But it is never ever from the mind we can do it, because mind is always limited as far as a human condition is concerned. Even the science accept that the mind is a very limited entity. It is not an unlimited entity, actually. So a limited mind can never perceive what is the unlimited. So if you think you are understanding everything through your intellectual abilities, through your mind, then you are totally mistaken. Then are you understanding through your heart? That is another danger, always crying, cribbing, always into that emotional entanglement. Then what it is all about is a fine balance between mind and your heart in the spirituality. It's a fine balance between application of your mind and application of your heart, and bringing a kind of a balance between the both and learning. Because there is prior knowledge, I'm saying this. If there is no prior knowledge, there is no problem at all. It is the next very important segment, actually. People generally come to these learning, particularly to our Mahavidyalaya and, or any other learning school. I've seen this. And they feel that they are overnight, they have become some kind of a tantric, actually. They behave, they act and think like that. They think that wearing a red dress and wearing Rudra malas, and wearing some kind of funny pendants, and, and 1 month you attend the classes and you land up showing off that to your family members, talking in a very mysterious languages, speaking, using some Sanskrit words here and there, and you show, your family is totally worried, actually, what is happening around, actually, like, whether this fellow is going to leave the house and go and all. You land up doing that kind of a internal disturbance in your family, actually. you know Actually, if we see, Sri Vidya should not make your family to think that you have joined some kind of a secret society to kill yourself or kill your family or the entire society, actually. you know you see, I mean, you see the amount of prior knowledge that is there, which is not allowing people to progress. Particularly when it comes to Tantra, Chandi Tantra Mahavidya, what is the Tantra they are going to teach here? Right, by we are just educating society here, actually. So you just imagine they get into that, what I call the uh, Amrish Puri effect. You have seen that tantric effect of the Amrish Puri dressing up, and like, and then doing some kind of all, like, because particularly the North, when you say, if this Tantra means, it is like Kala Jadoo. was a tantric. Oh my God. तुम तंत्र मतलब तुम काला जादू सीख रहे हो क्या? अरे, thankfully, I think that's the reason sophisticated in South India, they felt enough is enough and they have converted the name into Sri Vidya, actually, very specifically. It's very nice to put it across. Sri Vidya. One last year only this happened, actually. One some concerned family member, I guess. This fellow was learning and everything. His wife landed up writing a message to me. I think the way you are taking classes and my husband is doing sadhana and all, he might land up becoming a sannyasi and he might leave us. I said, first of all, I am not leaving my house and becoming a sannyasi. I do not know why he is doing that actually. I am very much going to my work. I am very much doing everything. I am like a very normal person. I do not know what happened to your husband. You have to explain to me. She was so shocked. I thought you will come and tell me what is happening around, but you are saying like this. I said, like, we are just teaching. What is making him sannyasi? Maybe I should really find out so that first I will become that sannyasi and then I can take him also along with me wherever he is going, actually. Srividya is never talking about becoming a sannyasi anywhere, actually. It's very, very clearly saying you have to be a part of the existence to do everything. And in today's times, I'm really sorry to say, you know, more than our houses or more than our wherever we are working, there's a lot of politics in a lot of ashrams actually. So it's better we be at our home peacefully actually, rather than getting into the politics of the ashram actually. And seriously, that's the reason I don't want to build any kind of an ashram actually. Why land up again creating this running this Mahavidyalaya itself in an online, I feel that I'm running a government actually. That is the kind of pressure I have, and then creating a ashram and then all kinds of controversy leading me to jail and we leading me to all kinds of names getting into newspaper. எதுக்கு இதெல்லாம்? Why to get into all these things? Those we were teaching something, doing some good work yearly once or twice we are meeting, doing some good work. அதோட போதும். That's more than enough. Have a small place to practice. People are appreciating. People are able to look forward. That's more than enough. So when the space itself, with the teaching itself is like this, by that you create, that kind of an environment actually is something we need to question actually, which is very important. And moving forward from this, what is happening is like you land up what is called as the family judgments actually, because I have to talk on that in a detailed manner here, because students often tell me my family is judging. What exactly they are judging? The puja or my behavior or the important distinction, or if after sadhana, they are having these questions, like these are very important, like uh, from others' point of view, when we are doing sadhana, it's something like you are doing sadhana, but how can you land up shouting actually? Yes or no? I mean, these kind of assumptions, a person who is doing sadhana cannot, what is called as cannot get anger actually. Yes or no? You'd always like Buddham, Sharanam, Gachami, like that kind of a behavior, like always. Arey bhai, I'm not in that kind of an environment. I am with all of you, you know. When I'm with all of you, I should be behaving like that only, right? Actually, so like this kind of identity, the labels that are put upon us actually, because I spoke what we behave, what the family or what the society does is also something very important actually. When we when we actually do sadhana, when we do something like a very normal human being, like, like if we have somewhere less patience, or we show what is called as a less responsibility somewhere, being less kindness to people when they expect, we actually, what happens is that we are immediately judged actually. I think that is predominantly coming from this learning, leading to what is called as, you selectively use that learning at that moment actually. Anyway, all these people are temporary, right? But I give them importance. That is a very wrong thing that we do actually, and the shastras are actually condemning that actually. When you are anger, when you have an altered emotion, not anger, altered emotion on a larger basis, we will take. At that moment, you feel that the entire world is good for nothing, and I have realized everything and I am the super soul, means that is not going to work out actually. If you are really a super soul, you have realized that you should be able to implement that in every moment, actually. Are able to follow what I'm trying to say? So, your entire transformation that is happening step by step should happen from your home only, actually. Okay. And connecting that, this is something like, this is a torture. The next point, what I'm going to speak. And after I'll speak, at least you guys will not do that to me, actually. Immediately after you start the sadhana, okay, just 1 month or 3 months, okay, I'll get emails after emails. I am getting this experience. I am getting this dream. I am getting this vision. I'm getting goosebumps all of a sudden. My hairs are standing on my body when I'm chanting Devi Mahatmyam. Devi, I feel like Devi is coming and talking to me actually. Shiva appeared right in front of my eyes. I feel that Guruji, my Kundalini is awakened. Yours also awakened? What do you think actually? Can you talk about that to me? Are just 3 months you have done some sadhana actually, and not even a year you would have completed. And you look into the kind of chaos they create actually. All these are unfortunate side effects, or what is called as that cleansing when it happens, in the initial stages, because of the systematic sadhana, that what is called as the residues that is there. It is just the outcome that is coming, and both the teacher and the student should be able to undergo those phases in a beautiful manner actually. Because the Tantra Loka very clearly again says, when there is an experience arise, see, most of the time, so when you say things to me, you have seen many of you when you write emails, I don't even reject it, because that is not a right way I can do it also. But at the same time, you know, as I say, when you talk about an experience or something, it is your experience. Maybe, whether it is genuine experience or whether it is all about hallucination or schizophrenic behavior or whatever you term it in both science and, in spiritual terminologies you use. But an experience is arising. If it's a genuine experience, you should be there to witness your own experience, actually. You don't have to really, interpolate that experience. Interpolation is not required for the experience, and particularly in the early stages, what we call as a neophyte stage of doing the sadhana, it is not at all needed actually. And you should stop talking in these kind of languages to people around. It is all about study. That's the reason in our Mahavidyalaya we're trying to make it very clear. You are here to study actually. The texts are very clear. These are the texts we are studying. This is what we are understanding. From here, if you are qualified, let us go to the next levels actually. We are not getting into that Amrish Puri effect at all. I'm not doing that actually. That we did during our graduation. We all wore kind of a dress. We all sat there. We did things. That was a moment actually. And we live and we cherish that moment. But apart from that, everybody is having a career, everybody is having a family. You go with your situation, you go with your surroundings, you go with your emotions. But along with all these, how you can still remain a sadhaka is what is very important as grihasthas, as people with work, knowledge, commitment to various things, you people should hold on actually, which is very important. The way you are doing sadhana, others should ask question in such a way that there is definitely a change in you, and I also want to undergo that change. What can I do for that? And let me tell you, we have history in our own Mahavidyalaya where husbands or wives, they have performed sadhana. And looking at them, the other couple has come and joined actually. Now let me join this actually. This should be the real sadhana. You understand what I'm trying to? The other person has done justice to the sadhana. The other person did not what to say intimidate the other person actually. Are able to follow what I'm trying to say? Even this year, we have that kind of a thing actually. Like, I don't want to name actually. We are blessed that Two of our students, they have been doing the sadhana. Their uh, their their spouses have filled the form actually to join the Mahavidyalaya. This is very nice. This is welcoming actually. No, they have portrayed it in such a way that they are studying here, they are learning here. They are not portraying that they are becoming some dangerous instruments of for the human family and societal lives actually. Moving forward, very clearly I'm instructing all of you that don't frighten your family. If they are really worried, please send our YouTube videos. We might get some extra views and likes and all actually. You know, what is that you are doing? If they are saying, means send the video. See, this is what I'm learning. If you want, you also learn. Let it be open actually. We are in an open space. We are teaching everything openly. So don't create any kind of a mysticism that your teacher has not created. You don't land up creating mysticism. Don't seek validation from anybody. Don't try to show that you have become superior by doing all these things to anybody. You know, you have to do everything in a very silent and a systematic manner. If you have a routine, you have a routine for everything: getting up, taking bath, doing your household work, doing office work, or whatever XYZ and everything. Along with that, this is also a part of it. But deeply what you're doing now is actually a part of everything that you're doing. But for others, this should also look okay, fine. He's learning something. She's learning something. That's the reason I heard this comment coming in from our own students. When you went back from the graduation ceremony, your family members have seen the report card and they were so surprised and shocked, it seems actually. Oh, this is the way you have studied actually. This is what you have been doing actually. Correct? They have given you marks. You have a scorecard, you have a report card, and whatever you have studied, you have practiced and came actually. That is the kind of projection which we are trying to give, and that is the projection you should honestly have for yourself and for others around actually. See, I am a guru, I am teaching, teacher, and you have that respect and everything. That is all fine. But at the end of the day, I am also a very normal human being like any one of you. I also undergo every kind of emotion, every kind of response to the stimuli. I also work, I also do a lot of other things. But what I am trying to do, connecting everything with Devi again and again and again and again, I'm trying to do it. And you should also have doing that. Here, it is not a system where you see that, oh, he's like this, let me start worshipping him. No, if he is like this, you are also supposed to become like that. You understand? That is very simple. If I can become, you can also become. Are able to follow what I'm trying to say? Very simple understanding. You have all respect, regard, and everything for the teacher, which is all nice, which is all should be there. But you should also aspire to become what your teacher has got it, actually, not thinking that, oh, he is gifted, he got it, he's blessed to be born in that. You are also blessed to be born in that. That is what Shastram is talking very clearly. Actually, everybody is supposed to realize this knowledge today or tomorrow. You got an opportunity, you are going through that process. That's the only thing. And as a teacher, I am guiding you. Very simple. Will I leave my family after doing sadhana? As far as I know, nobody is going to leave the family. Okay? Will I'm, because of having a guru, doing with all these some kind of rituals, doing some meditation, will I actually leave everything? Honestly, really, if you're doing all these things, you should become a better spouse, you should become a better parent, you should become a better child, you should become a better employee, you should become a better student for the teacher, you should become a better citizen for the society and the state at large, actually, because that is what is the entire design of the Sri Vidya and Tantra Shastras are all actually. And if we actually, there's a kind of this, we have this inverted triangle, or the triangle which is very important in the Tantra actually. And I would personally say that, the triangle, you are in the center space, you are the bindu in the triangle, and you have what is called as the personal professional and the spiritual space. The downward part of the triangle, the sharp edge is the spiritual, and one side it is the upper side. The both the sides are, one side is the personal and the other side is the professional. You're trying to bridge everything towards that sharp point towards what is called as spiritual, because everything is spiritual for you at the end of the day. That is a kind of dimension that you should have when it comes to understanding this tantra shastras. Don't let one aspect to destroy the other. Actually, it is not at all needed. Your body, your mind and soul, whatever the dimensions you're working in, it is all progressing into the spiritual dimensions. Initially, as a neophyte, as a student who is into learning and practices, there might be a lot of interruptions. There might be our own self-destructive behavior, our self-destructive thoughts and everything. But that doesn't mean that we will constantly keep judging ourselves, actually. Look, one side I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to chant and everything. Look at me, the way XYZ behavior or XYZ thoughts is like trying to do this to me, actually. It's fine. You are a human. You have karma. You have a previous history. You don't have to do this to yourself just because of the reason, quote unquote, you're doing some sadhana, you are becoming a pure angel. That very moment, in Hindi we say doodh ka dula hua. We cannot do that to ourselves, actually. I do not know why this has to happen, actually. We go through it. No, we go through it and we raise, but at the same time, there should not be two things that should not happen. One is that you become so thick-skinned, you know, that you completely lose your consciousness. Okay, fine, I'll keep doing all these things in one side. Who is going to know, Let me show my other side that I'm so goody-goody. I'm very religious. I'm so spiritual. Other side, you are doing some heinous activities which nobody can even know about you or something like that. It's not like that also. Like, you completely lost what is called as that consciousness. No, it is not about that. There are many things which we are maybe caught up and we are not able to come out of it. We have those kind of movements. For example, somebody is a smoker, for example, or somebody drink, like, whatever XYZ example. You should have genuinely, you should try to, like kind of, you should be able to have that repentance to overcome it, actually, even if you're not able to overcome, even if you're trying very hard. And that sincere effort and thought process will definitely help, actually. You might be repenting and you might be landed up doing again and again, but like maybe that repentance, how strong you are doing it with your consciousness is something that will bring that transformation, actually. That is what Shastram is talking about. How far I'm able to bridge the hypocrisy, which is very important. Every moment we should be able to think about it. What I think, what I speak, and what I actually deliver, the gaps that is existing, how I'm bringing it together, actually. How I'm able to see Devi in every sense that I am doing, actually, including my private and public spaces. How I'm able to, how she's a part of it, actually. She's both as a Sakshi and she's both as a person within me, actually. If that is the case, how the duality is bridged, actually. How am I bridging that aham much and much lesser, actually? Because all these are supposed to make us better individuals, actually. But rather, in today's time, unfortunately, sadhana is making a lot of us hypocrites, actually, or projectors, you know, or unnecessary liars, that, in the terms of knowing something and we are landed up to do things, like, okay, fine, this is what I have made this mask for myself. Maybe I have to live with that mask forever, actually. That is not needed. Honestly, that is not needed. We are all genuine, but for some reason, if you are got caught somewhere, we should be able to come out of that, actually. And in the last Sadhaka series, that's what we spoke about, the granthis, the knots that we are caught, actually. The Vishnu Granthi, the Rudra Granthi, and the Brahma Granthis. They're not that easy. No, let us honestly accept that is not easy. But Devi's grace is there. Our compassionate mother is there with us. We should trust our mother. We should trust the process. We should be able to go through this in a very beautiful manner, which is very essential. And that is the place where we can invoke our compassionate mother's grace as much as possible. Because the more you are able to connect the compassion of your mother with your strong consciousness of what is repentance of certain things, then the will definitely respond at that point, and she will show that transformation in a very systematic manner. And that is what is sadhana all about. And that is what you are supposed to teach, or you are supposed to set an example in your family, actually. See, if you today you are doing sadhana, there are only two reasons are there. One, you have that samskaram that has been imbibed in your birth, and number two, you have seen the elders in your family. There are only two reasons are there. Yes or no? And you are supposed to do the same thing for the next generation, whosoever is there in your family, actually. Now you might think that is not even the possibility. I don't even see my sons or daughters, getting into this. I don't even see that kind of an idea. But you never know, actually. Everybody's having a turning point, and they will come back, because that is, what blood is there within you, it is running in them, actually. And they will come back to this, actually. And there is no escape also, honestly. Nobody can escape this route. They have to come here. So and tomorrow they should be able to talk about this, whether we are alive or not. My mother was like that. My mother used to do all those things. I remember that. My father used to do all those things. My father had the Sri Chakram. What is the legacy you are leaving them? Which is very important. They might not understand now. You don't even want them to understand. It is not your business to make them understand. It is not your business to make them realize what you're doing and all. You be what you are. You do your sadhana. You be in your space. They will come to this, because it is there in you. It will be there in them also. When their time will come, they will come. So this is very important for each one of you to do this. There's no any compartmentalization as far as our activities are concerned. This is what I'm trying to. This is my central argument in today's class. What you are in front of me, what you wanted to be in this particular space, you should try to be that same person in every space, actually. The strategies might change, the people might change, the environment might change, but you are not supposed to change, actually, which is very essential in sadhana. Okay. So when we talk about this, what is that change that should happen through sadhana? You will float around in the air. You will start levitating. Mystical aura will form behind your head. Secret powers will come to you. You will be able to curse your manager, and your manager will vanish the next day. Or you will say that accident, let this cousin get an accident. He should get into accident, and he should, like, he should die this moment. you know these are not the things that happen, or will should not even happen, or will not happen. The real signs are what? you know when you compare yourself with the previous individual, you say that, I have changed. There's a lot of change in me. Should have that fear of many things. Fear for survival, fear for money, fear for bank balance, fear for XYZ, what it was before and what you are now, actually. You should have become a better listener, actually, which is very important. You should listen, not just to me. Here you have no option. You are listening for 1.5 hours. You listen from here and you leave it here and you keep doing things. That is not I'm saying. To even others in family, wherever they are speaking, you should have that patience to listen, actually. Listen to them, whatever they are saying, listen. Before you jump, shouting, howling, doing all kinds of things, listen, quietly listen. You know, Develop the habit of gratitude, actually. Days are becoming better, time is becoming better, hours are becoming better, minutes are becoming better. I am safe, my family is safe, my things are safe. I have understood that it is not me who is protecting and guiding things. There's a higher force which is binding things, which I can slowly realize. I can steadily feel that. you know Patiently think before you judge. You judge, it is fine, but you think before you judge. And when you think, you know whether you judge or whether you should evaluate. Because repeatedly you do judgments, but you cannot land up taking actions, because there are a lot of spaces where judgments will never work. Only evaluation will work, actually. And we land up not doing evaluation, we'll end up judging. And that judging is what constantly creating hurt within us, actually. And these are the hurts which are going and sitting as Granthi students, actually. You land up easily judging your children, your spouse, your parents, everybody. And that is becoming what? A Granthi. You evaluate. Maybe that moment, okay, out of furry, you outburst, anger, emotion, crying, and everything, but immediately repent to Parambika and then get back. But that, instead of doing that kind of, you first judge, outburst, and everything, and then get into evaluation, first itself, you should be able to do what is called as evaluation. That behavior, that transformation should come within us, actually. You should have a glowing face, not by fair and lovely, but by the sadhana that you are doing. You know, people should feel peaceful with you, not feel agitated, actually. When they're just with you, they should feel very calm. They feel very composed. They want to be with you. They might not know to express these things, but you will know, when people, you see that they want to be with you, actually. That is what is called as having actual aura. So you, without preaching, you let all these things know over the years. I'm saying years, not even months or days. Over the years of your sadhana, you should be able to show or demonstrate. I'm using the word demonstrate here. Demonstrate these in a very practical manner. So, therefore, family is definitely not a burden. Family is definitely a complementary part of doing the sadhana, because Devi herself is not a sannyasi. She herself is a Shiva Kutumbini. That's what it is. Though she has extreme behaviors, she has extreme ways and means of doing, but at the end of the day, she comes back as a Shiva Kutumbini only, because that is what she wants to teach each one of us. So if I have a final kind of a stop to this, how will I know? How will my family know? Forget about you knowing. How will my family know that my sadhana is working? You should take out Devi Mahatmyam textbook and chant it in front of them and show off them that, now see, like, you people are good for nothing. I can chant, I can chant, I can do mantra, I can put puja, I can wear this costume, wear Rudraksha and do this puja mantras. Please. This is the last thing you should do it, actually. Even if you're doing, you should be able to involve them into those spaces just the way I have involved you in that space, actually. Or if they are not involving Guruji, means that is fine. Let them not involve, but that doesn't mean that. But even don't create an intimidating space, actually. Be kind, be calm, be more responsible towards your own self. Forget about others. Okay? When these three things are setting in, automatically patience, trust, and joy will emerge of the sadhana. And that is what Sri Vidya is asking all of us to do. A true sadhaka does not withdraw from anything, particularly from family, particularly from life. A true sadhaka actually, as Vidya Gupta says, he or she will sanctify the life itself. And that is the highest compliment that we can give to ourselves and to the family in which we are born, and to the society in which we are living, and to the state in which we belong, and the country that we belong, actually. And the one who can do that is actually the real tantric. That is what Vidya Gupta is saying. If you really want to know who is a tantric, this is the quality of who is called to be a tantric. And not just a simple tantric, it seems. He's a Mahatantric, Mahanutantric. He's a great tantric, actually, because he has become a better human being by transforming himself, actually. Thank you so much. Let me end the session with Mangalam. Om Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambhake Narayani namostute. Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Kshiva Datri Swaha Swada Namostute. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sarvam Shri Chandi Mahalakshmi Arpanamastu Tathastu. Thank you so much. I hope you all enjoy the class. Please send me your reflections. We're sharing the link, and I would like you to write your reflections on this particular topic, and we can all read about what we can think about this particular topic. Thank you so much. Namaskaram.
Thank you,
Thank you
Guruji.
so much,
Namaskaram, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram,
Thank you,
Guruji.
Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaskaram, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Bye. Maybe